What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing, and this is our weekly Forex forecast and analysis for the upcoming week of February the 24th through the 28th. Let's get started right now. Taking a look with the Euro US dollar, we could see, just take a step back here with me. We're in a sharp downtrend. We tested down here, the support down at 1.007760, and then Friday we bounced. We bounced because of technically, yeah, we were coming into this area of support, but we had some weaker than expected PMI, manufacturing PMIs out of the US, and this was viewed as an opportunity for a little bit of profit taking here on the dollar. The question is, what happens going into next week? Do we see a little bit more of dollar selling, or does this trend resume downwards? I don't have that answer right now. Right now here on the Euro US dollar, you're between this nearest resistance up at 0.092 and the support that we just bounced off of all the way down at 0.0776. So right now it's not really a tradable position. If you get a retrace all the way into this resistance over here, you can watch how price reacts. You can watch to see if this resistance holds, and if so, you can lean into some shorts over here right now. Ideally, we would see a retrace a little bit higher. This is really heavy resistance, and look at these touches down over here, going back over to here. This is pretty big resistance you have at 0.09934. An opportunity to look for a retest of there would be phenomenal, and I think that all of us would be looking to really establish some big short positions. Right now, though, let's see whether or not we have the resumption of the dollar strength, or we still continue to see a little bit of retrace and headed towards some positions where we could look to sell the dollar. All right, next we're taking a look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. This is, we saw a huge breakout this week on the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. We saw all yen pairs actually weaken. We're going to be taking a look at that. We have a lot to talk about. Right now, though, you can see over here on the US dollar, Japanese yen, we did break out this 5-year trend line, and look at that breakout. That was really intense. Some of the traders in the live chat pointed out that we came right into this resistance at 112.27, that pretty strong resistance, and price retraced off of it. Now, after a breakout, that's what you would expect. The question going into this week is whether or not we're going to see continued yen weakness. If this breakout here of this trend line is going to lead to a new trend where we're going to see much weaker Japanese yen in the future. I know myself, I'm looking to position for a weaker yen, and in any setups I could get in a resumption towards this trend, this weaker yen, I'm going to be looking to take setups. I think I have some other pairs such as the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, and the British pound, Japanese yen that I'm more focused in on. But the US dollar against all pairs is really continues to strengthen. And any opportunity I have to take dollar strength pairs and yen weakness pairs, I'm looking to do that. Let's jump over to the British pound, Japanese yen, and take a look about what I'm talking about. And you can see right here, let me give you a good view. You could see this resistance over here was taken out on Friday, and we closed still above it. Come down to the 8-hour chart so you could get a better look at it. And you can see over here that now the British pound is leading the breakout against the Japanese yen here as we're above this broken resistance, which is now support. As long as this continues to hold, if this support over here continues to hold and resume off of it, I like that trade a lot to the upside. Now, if we do retrace back down into this support down here, all the way down at 143.29, I also really like that trade as well. And if we were able to resume off of that, I would be interested in looking at along there as well. But right now we're above this broken resistance. It's holding as support. If it continues to hold as support on the opening here coming up, Asia Open on Monday, and then we resume off of it, I think this is a pair that could lead against the Japanese yen as well as the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's take a look at that one next. All right, here we are looking at the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen right now, and I want you to see the same. Look at this big resistance line over here. This was support, support, support. Support broke, held as resistance all the way up until Thursday. We broke out over here. Friday, we got a retest of that broken resistance, and it did hold as support. Same thing, dropped down to the 8-hour, and you can see over here that this support is now holding. If this continues to hold and we resume off of it, There's not a lot of overhead, and I think this could be a trade that turns out to be something worthwhile. The Canadian dollar and the British pound seem to be leading versus the Japanese yen, as well as, of course, we saw that huge breakout on the US dollar. And these are the pairs that I'm looking to take advantage of this current yen weakness if it holds and if it continues. Now, I do want to take a moment here to focus in on the US dollar. This is the DXY, the dollar index, which obviously has been very strong these last couple of weeks. Friday, we saw this big bearish engulfing candle. We saw the low of Thursday and then the low of Wednesday also taken out. And you could see that we got below this little area that was resistance in the past, and we're now trading back below it. Now, whether or not we're going to see a further retrace into this coming week, I have no idea. Ideally, we would get a nice retrace down into this area between 98.54 and 98.39 if you extend this blue box area over here. And that would be a really good area to be able to look in and possibly lean into to reestablish these long US dollar positions, right? Or anywhere further. But what I do feel that is happening is that I don't think this is the top of the US dollar. I don't think that at all. I think we're simply seeing a retrace. And I think the theme that I really want to be taking advantage of is further US dollar strength and further Japanese yen weakness. Into both of those themes have proven themselves false. But right now, that's exactly what's happening in the markets. Now, I want to take advantage of the US dollar versus the weaker pairs. That does happen to right now be the Japanese yen, but it continues to also be the New Zealand dollar and the Australian dollar, which are both looking precarious situations. The Canadian dollar we're going to look at next. First, I want to look at gold with you, and then I want to go over to the US dollar, Canadian dollar to see what's happening there as well. But the overall theme that I see in the markets is this dollar strength. I don't think this is the top of the US dollar. Now, of course, we will always be watching and discerning what is happening and what is taking place. That's the whole reason we do these weekly forex forecasts, as well as we do our keep our pulse on the market every day. We live stream 9 a.m. Eastern time, keeping our pulse on the market as it develops. Now, what I think is going to happen is I think that I'm looking for opportunities to position in for that future dollar strength. I don't know if this is the extent of the pullback, which it could be right over here. We could bounce as early as on Monday. We'll be watching for that. I would like to see a little bit of a further of a pullback if possible, but whatever the market gives us is what we'll be able to take. All right, here is a look at gold. We're now looking at XAU US dollar, and we could see we had early last week this huge breakout. We were looking at that in last weekend's weekly forex forecast. It broke out huge, and it came all the way up into this area of resistance. Now, the next move on gold, I'm not sure. I'm not chasing, looking to buy gold up here. I'm not doing that. But at the same time, if we do break out above last week's high, we could be heading towards 1800 and pretty quickly. Now, from what I understand, this coming week ends the favorable seasonality for gold. So maybe perhaps we do see a pullback. Maybe we test this breakout a little bit. Look, long term, definitely continue and remain bullish on gold. It's a question of establishing positions. Right now, it's come very hard, very fast. Don't chase after it to the upside. Wait for it to consolidate. Wait for the next move. We'll keep an eye on it. This is not the time to be looking to establish a position on gold. And whatever you do, do not try to be a hero. Do not try to be selling gold. Gold has been the strongest currency all year, stronger than the US dollar, stronger than every other currency. There's no reason to step in here and sell gold. What you want to do is you want to look to establish long-term positions in gold to the upside. All right, here's a look at our US dollar, Canadian dollar. All right, so we could see here, we could see a couple of things. First of all, we could see that we have broken out. The dollar is just a beast against everything. We've broken out here, and now we've come back into this heavy, big resistance. If and when we get above this resistance, we might be able to see quite an extension here on the US dollar. Now, so far, this resistance has held and the Canadian dollar has pulled back. Notice this trend line remains an obstacle. It can't hold below this trend line. It tried on Friday with that weak dollar and it couldn't do it yet. Now, it is possible we see further weakness in the dollar this coming week. And if we do, we might be able to take a look at this support or even down lower, extend this trend line over here, right? we might get a gift and be able to establish a position down over here against the US dollar, against the Canadian dollar. Now, just be aware that right now we're leaning towards the bullish side here in the US dollar, Canadian dollar. As long as we're above this trend line, and as long as we're above this trend line over here, and we're waiting to see if the dollar resumes that strength and takes us and eventually breaks out this resistance. We've had 1, 2, 3, false break, 4, 5, 6 touches. All right. The more touches, the weaker the resistance is going to get. And it does appear that eventually it's going to break. This looks like a good area to be looking to get long the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. Hopefully, ideally, we would get a further pullback. But if we don't, and we trade above this area over here, above this 0.132685, that might be the area of safety, knowing you could get long and take a look at this resistance over here, because if we break it, I think we're going to see some fireworks to the upside. All right, moving over to the Australian dollar, US dollar. The Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar continue to be two of the weakest pairs versus the US dollar. Now on Friday, we had this little bit of a retrace over here. This is coming after Thursday's breakdown. Look what happened over here on Thursday. We broke down, taking out these lows over here, and price crashed through. Now we had seen this retrace here on Friday as the dollar weakened. It looks like we might be coming up and testing this breakdown over here. That's the first area of interest that we'll look at to see if we get rejected and resume downwards. If so, I think that I am extremely interested in taking a long-term position over here against the Australian dollar. Same thing, if we do not hold this resistance and trade above it, we got another nice resistance to look at and see how price reacts off of it, up at 0.67423. Both of these are opportunities. Sell resistance in downtrends. This is now a downtrend that is broken down to the downside. We're going to look to see on any retest of resistance if they hold and look to sell them short. Here we'll also take a look at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Again, on Thursday, we broke down over here, took out this low area over here and crushed down into that first area of support. So far it's holding. We're retracing with the dollar weakness. Coming back, taking another look at this breakdown. That might be the first area to look for the opportunity to sell if it holds, if the resistance holds and we resume off of it. Because if we take out this low over here, I think we're coming down and we could be testing much lower on the New Zealand dollar, the US dollar. I don't know how far this weakness in the US dollar is going to play out. I think it's a gift. My theme that I want to express to you right now is just look for the opportunity to position yourself long the US dollars. Any retrace is a gift to establish those positions if the trend resumes. Same thing on the Japanese yen. We are seeing Japanese yen weakness. Even in this current environment of global slowdown, we're seeing that yen weakness. We saw a huge breakdown of the Japanese yen. So any retraces on the Japanese yen, I think you're looking to sell that weakness. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to continue to take advantage of the US dollar strength and Japanese yen weakness, and that's what I'm seeing happening in the markets. Of course, we're seeing that continued gold strength. All of these themes I think are going to be continuing for a while, and any retraces is just an opportunity to position yourself back towards the trend. Don't be so short-term time frame minded. Look to be able to take advantages of these trends in the market. We're entering a new phase of expansion. These trends are going to be longer lasting than we've seen over the past few years. Listen, that's it for today. That's our plan going into next week. Every day this week, I'm going to be developing this plan with you further as it unfolds. Starting tomorrow, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern, we'll be live streaming. If you haven't already joined us live and you're able, do so. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you're alerted when we do jump on live. And if you can't be there for us live, that's okay. Watch the replay. Really looking forward to working further with you. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.